We talked about the Chicago Bulls being interested in possibly going after Jrue Holiday, and should they? But it seems that Jrue Holiday is also interested in possibly being a Chicago Bull, among other teams. How do the Bulls get this done? Should they pull the trigger? Let's talk about all that and more in today's episode of Chicago Bulls Breeze, and it starts right now. Now, if you are new to the channel, please like the video. Please subscribe to the page. We do talk Chicago Bulls daily on this channel. Only channel talking Bulls, how Bulls fans talk. So make sure that you stay in tune with us. Of course, brought to you by the Windy City Breeze, where you get Monday through Friday Chicago sports content daily. Tune in with us over there as well. Per Barry Jackson of the Miami Herald, he says he's told that the Heat, both LA teams, Boston, Chicago, and Philly, are teams of interest to Jrue Holiday, perhaps others, but those six in no order were mentioned to me. Beyond Portland distaste for Heat assets, Miami must reconcile this. Acquiring and giving big new deal next summer makes them tax team for years. I think here's the thing for me with all of this. Hearing the Bulls name be of interest to a guy like Jrue Holiday does excite me a little bit more about the possibility of going out and getting a deal done for him. Again, you have to figure out how to match that $35 million. And I think that the Bulls do have a situation where they can. It just depends on what Portland actually wants back at the end of the day. To me, when I look at this Portland team, it doesn't seem like they're looking for veteran presence. It doesn't seem like they're looking to bring back a DeMar DeRozan or a Zach LaVine, right? We heard that they weren't interested in a Zach LaVine. Not for Jrue Holiday, they might be, but right, like they're not looking to make that kind of move. It seems like they're really just trying to get back a little bit of draft capital, drop off Jrue Holiday somewhere where he can go out there and compete still. They're trying to flip this pretty quickly, and that excites me. That's an opportunity I think the Bulls actually stand a really good chance of going out there and getting a deal done with. Why? Because again, like we talked about yesterday on the Daily Show, the protections around that pick, the protections around that Chicago Bulls Portland pick that they own right now does not allow Portland to be able to go out there and make any moves on their own. If you can package that with Alonzo Ball, and yes, you are going to have to give up some kind of player to make the money work, maybe a Patrick Williams, maybe an Alex Caruso. In both cases, you're getting back a 33-year-old, five-time all-defensive point guard who would absolutely have the perfect skill set for you to come in and replicate what we saw from Lonzo Ball in those first 35 games. This would be the ultimate fix, I think, for this Bulls team. Now, does it end up winning you a championship? What is it doing at the end of the day? Right? I don't know if we see all of that play out here, but I think realistically what you're trying to do is make this team as competitive as possible while hoping that something in the future pans out, which is why I think that an Alex Caruso could be the piece that you see get sent the other direction. Why? Because you look at the bench assets on this team, right? Realistically, the Bulls still have nice bench pieces that can go out there and play defense. You'd be adding Javon Carter to that bench as well. I think in this situation, you're also, if you're sending out Alex Caruso, right, you're still hoping for the future of Patrick Williams. I'm kind of off the P. Will train as far as him being, right, this superstar level player someday, but maybe he can turn into a nice 3-and-D player for you. So maybe there's something there that the Bulls want to hold on to. I don't know where we're at with all of that, but realistically, I think the fact that Jrue Holiday is actually interested in coming to the Chicago Bulls means that the Bulls should try and go out there and see if they can bring him back. Now, the question on the table with all of this is, how do you get that done? Do the Bulls have enough to outcompete the other teams that are in this? Because they don't have a ton to send to Portland, right? You can't send Kobe, you can't send Aldison, what these guys just signed, you can't send any of your rookies, right? Like they're limited in what they can send. They just have really good pieces to send that I think kind of hold Portland hostage right now, namely the protections on that pick. But do they have a better package than what both LA teams can offer, the Miami Heat can offer, Boston can offer, Philly can offer? I think that's where you start to feel like it might get a little bit tough because clearly Portland's not doing this just to make Jrue Holiday happy. They don't care about Jrue Holiday going to a place where he feels like he's going to be best served. This is not a Damian Lillard situation. They're flipping Jrue Holiday for the best case scenario. Now, would they like him to go to a spot where, sure, he's a little bit more comfortable, because then, right, you can get you know that, right, you're sending him to a team where they're more willing to give up assets and pieces because they know that he's going to be there. I think that that's a huge part of this as well. Why? Because he's got to re-sign. He is on the last year of his deal. He's got a player option going into next year. Does he opt into that option or opt out? Does he try to re-sign a contract somewhere? Those are a lot of questions, right? And I guess that's another part of this, right? Do you just wait and see if Jrue Holiday ends up becoming a free agent? I think the Philly situation is interesting because the only scenario I see going on there is if you flip James Harden for him. Why the heck would Portland want to get James Harden and then have to flip James Harden again? That makes zero sense to me. And I don't think that you're going to end up getting more draft capital because teams have shown you we don't really want James Harden. That's what it comes down to. At the end of the day, teams don't want James Harden. And so you're in a situation now where you have to go out there and make a deal that is a bird in the hand versus two in the bush. I think Philly's probably out of it if they're sending James Harden in that scenario. Boston is another interesting spot for me. Boston has the guys that can match the money, but is that a situation where I think that's probably the best landing spot if I'm Portland, because you're going to send me draft capital for this point guard that I think your team needs very, very much. Why? Because if I give you Jrue Holiday, guess what? Now we're talking about somebody that actually separates Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. I think that is a very Chicago Bulls type situation as well. They have more draft capital to offer. I think they're more willing to offer the draft capital because they feel like they're closer to a championship with Jrue Holiday there. The Bulls aren't. Right, the Bulls just aren't. And that's the realistic situation of it. And so I don't believe that AK is going to send a ton of draft capital. I don't think that he's going to send first round picks back for Jrue Holiday. I don't think that he's going all in on Jrue Holiday. Right, so I think that Boston might have the best package out of everybody there, and a great situation for Jrue. You look at both LA teams, right? Yeah. Right, it's kind of one of those things where I look at it and I say I think that they have more to offer than what the Chicago Bulls currently have. With the LA teams, right, you're probably talking about players coming back more than likely, maybe some draft capital, but are you looking to get draft capital out of that situation from them? I don't know. You know what I mean? I just think that that's the Bulls are in the middle on this. They're not at the top. They don't have the best package to offer. Do they have a package that I think could be good? Yeah, you're getting money off of your books if you're Portland. You're getting the player protection removed, or the pick protection removed. You're getting a player in either Alex Caruso or I believe Patrick Williams, one or the other, where, yeah, we got this young guy now that we're more willing to develop, that we're more willing to take more time on trying to develop this guy. And on the flip side of that, we also have, we have Alex Caruso, who we don't have to develop. He's just going to go out there and be a defensive clamp. He's used to coming off of the bench anyway. Let's just keep him coming off of the bench. And now we have our defensive stopper on this team, right? I think that those are scenarios that make a lot of sense for the Chicago Bulls right now and where they're at. I don't think that the Bulls have the best package to offer, but I think that they can go out there and offer something that Portland may really be interested in. But I do want to know how you guys feel. Let me know in the comments below. I'll be down there talking with you as well. What are your thoughts on trading for Jrue Holiday and his interest in working with the Chicago Bulls? I'll be, like I said, man, let me know in the comments below. As always, it's your boy Pat the Designer back at it again. Appreciate you guys supporting us over here. Make sure you also support us over on the Windy City Breeze Monday through Friday. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. One love. Peace.